morning.
Monday morning.
All right. So how is everyone this morning? Good, thanks. Some new faces. I'm Nancy. Hi. And some familiar faces returning. Welcome back. Good morning. You want to take this spot up here, Liam?
Sure.
Get Nick to scoot over a smidge. Either way, if you want to go this way, then. All right, so everybody have a couple of blocks? Yeah. Did we make it for, I think, I did put a request in to get more, so hopefully that will happen. How are we feeling? Yeah. So we are, each week I've been introducing a new yama and niyama, which are the first two limbs in the yogic path. There's 8 limbs in the path, and the first two identify really sort of the ethical code that how to live life as a good human. Something that we strive for every day. So today we've covered, the first one was ahimsa, which translates to nonviolence. Last week was satya, which is truthfulness. And the third yama is called asteya, which is non-stealing. Translates to non-stealing. So in its simplest form, it really does mean that. Don't steal from others. Hopefully everybody's following that code, that moral code. But if we look a little deeper, it's really talking about, there's various ways to interpret it, but not stealing other people's joy is one. Not taking more than you need. So maybe 5 of the shoes in the closet, those extra ones that you never wear, might really make someone else happy. So maybe it's time to purge and find some things that you don't need, that you don't use, and to pass those along to benefit other people's happiness. A root cause of asteya is I'm not good enough. So sometimes when we think that we're less than or not feeling as good about ourselves, we shop therapy and think that a material item might help in replacing some of those feelings. It's a quote that was in this article. The need to steal essentially arises because of a lack of faith in ourselves to be able to create what we need for ourselves. Lack, insecurity, wanting, feeling incomplete. Essentially, it all boils down to feeling like there's something missing. So for our yoga practice, yoga, the word itself means to yoke, unite, connect, or essentially to become whole. So by practicing each aspect of yoga on and off the mat, we can move further towards feelings as though we already have enough. And we already are enough within ourselves. So just a little food for thought this morning. So let's actually start standing this morning, and welcome to our friends joining us from home. Lots of you this morning. Great to have you. So let's all come to stand, but have your blocks available at the top of your mat, just so that they're in easy reach once we move into that part of the practice. And just start to feel the earth under your feet. Start to rock forward and back, feeling the weight distribute toward the front of the feet, the balls of the feet, and then to the back. And bring the arms out to the sides. And we'll find our mountain pose Tadasana for about a minute. Let's bring one hand over the heart, one hand to the low belly. Let the elbows and arms just soften against your sides. And tune into your natural breath. Soften the gaze, looking down, or if it's comfortable to close your eyes, close your eyes. Tuning into, again, just how your weight is distributed. Spread the toes a little bit. Feel as though the chin is parallel with the earth, helping you to stand tall here in this mountain pose Tadasana. Starting with a body scan from the soles of your feet. Notice again just how the earth feels beneath your feet. And then start to move up the backs of the legs, the front of the legs, maybe feeling like the kneecaps are lifted a little. A soft engagement in the thighs. Notice then how the low belly feels. See if you can soften it a little bit. Moving up the front of the body and then the back of the body, noticing your spine, maybe helping it grow just about an inch in length. Feeling the gentle rise and fall of the breath in the front part of the body. Maybe also feeling it a little bit in the back body. And coming up, scanning the face, scanning the back of the head, the neck. Maybe let the shoulders drop just a little bit more away from the ears. Not manipulating the breath in any way, but just following the inhales and exhales. These next 3 breath cycles, almost feeling the breath move maybe up the front of the body and down the back of the body. And just follow that cycle as the breath moves up the front of the body and down the back of the body. Maybe reverse that, feeling it move up the back of the body and down the front. Finishing that cycle that you're on, bringing your hands together in front of your heart center in prayer pose or Anjali Mudra. So practicing Asteya on your mat. It means to not steal from yourself. So not pushing past your edge to where you feel any discomfort. Somewhat similar, really just building on to ahimsa, and satya is honoring your own truth, honoring your reason for being on your mat. is open with the sound of Om. So take a full inhale and just sigh the breath out through the mouth gently. And we'll begin. Separate your feet a little wider than your hips and turn your toes out just a little bit. Bring your hands to your thighs and softly bend your knees. And then notice we're going to be doing standing cow and cat. So for cat pose, you tilt the tailbone up, dropping the pelvis toward the floor, and you lift the chest. Lift the chin away from the chest. So put a little bend in the knees to do this. And then on your exhale, tucking the tailbone under, chin comes to your chest, a soft rounding of the spine. Inhale the other way. And exhale. Draw the navel in. Beautiful. Inhale into cow pose. And exhale into cat. Inhale into and exhale into cat. A couple more rotations like that. And then coming back to this neutral and just deepen the bend a little bit. See if you can straighten the spine where your spine is perpendicular with the floor. Just deepening the bend in your knees and then straighten the legs. And bending the knees. Allow the knees to track with your second toe. Inhale to straighten the legs. Exhale, bend the knees, and inhale, straighten the legs. Bending the knees, and straighten. Add the arms, so lift the arms up, and as you bend the knees, bring the arms to cactus arms, and then lifting back up. Two more times. And then bring your hands to your thighs again. We're going to drop one shoulder and then the other. So lean forward a little bit. So kind of have this posture here where you're leaning into your thighs a little bit. And then we'll start with the right shoulder dropping down. Inhale, lift back to center. And exhale, drop the left shoulder down. Inhale to center. And exhale, drop the right shoulder. Try and keep those knees bent. So engagement in the thighs. Inhale to lift back up. And exhale, lowering that right shoulder. Feeling that stretch in this part of the back area as you lower that shoulder. And try not to straighten the legs in between. Keeping them in that bend. Pose. A couple more times. So when you drop that shoulder, getting a little bit of a stretch for that hip flexor on the same side. And lift back up, straighten the legs and heel toe your feet closer and grab one of your blocks and take it in with the small side in your hand, and then bring it right in between the thighs as close to the pubic bone as you can, and then walk the feet in a little closer so that your feet are now hip distance apart and the toes pointing forward. Try not to have the toes turning out. You want to have the Nice symmetry with the second toe turning in. And then inhale the arms overhead and exhale down to the thighs. Turn the palms up as we lift the arms overhead, and then turn the palms so they face the thighs down. Turning them up, inhale, maybe add the gaze, looking up, and then exhale, lower down. Here comes the sun. Inhale the arms, sweeping them up, and exhale, lowering down. Two more. Inhale. Notice what's happening in the shoulders as we rotate the wrists. So turning the palms up, notice what happens. We're getting an external rotation. Shoulders, you don't want them creeping up to the ears. You want to just try and keep a good distance in between shoulders and ears and focus only on lifting the arms. And then exhale, hands to hips. And then a pelvic tilt here. So start tucking the tailbone. Notice how the block moves forward. And then tilt the tailbone up. The block moves back. So just same movement as cow and cat. So keep the legs straight. All we're doing is getting a little bit into the pelvis. So try not to bend the knees at all. Just a pelvic tilt and tuck. Noticing the block moving forward as you do, but really noticing the sensation in the pelvis. We use the pelvis in a lot of our poses, so just warming it up. For example, when we're in downward dog, if you tilt the tailbone up a little bit, so feel it's right here, your hips may move up toward the sky a little bit higher. Couple more. Just moving at your own pace. Noticing the engagement in the lower abdominal area. And last one, moving it forward and back. And then keep the block where it is, thighs engaged with it. Inhale the arms up by the ears. So find this symmetry. And check in with the distance between shoulders and ears, moving into a crescent moon shape over to the left and holding it for 3 breaths. Reach through your right fingertips like you're holding the moon. Stretching this right side open and breathing into it. One more breath in and out. Come to center. Pause. Reset. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale over to the right. Reach through the left fingertips. Inhale through center, one more each side. So over to the left. So once we repeat in action, see where you can find more space. One more breath in and out. Inhale through center and over to the right. Softening in the pose. Inhale to center, float the arms down and let the block drop. And then finding Tadasana, so feet are still a distance apart. Flowing through our forward fold to stand. So inhale the arms overhead and exhale, turn the palms down. Start to lead with your heart as you hinge at the hips. And then bend the knees and roll up to stand. Arms float up overhead. Your exhale takes you down. So again, a little tilting up of the tailbone helps with the hinging. Bend the knees once you get into your hold, round up to stand. Float the arms overhead. And exhale, hinge at the hips as we dive forward. Bend the knees. When you get there, let the head hang and roll up to stand. Inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees, roll up to stand. Inhale, floating the arms overhead. And exhale, dive forward. Bend the knees, let the head be heavy as you roll up. Last one. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, dive forward. Soften the knees as you let the head hang heavy. Roll it up. And find Tadasana. Bring the arms out in front of you. Draw the arms into your shoulder sockets. So notice when you bring them out in front of you, they're stretching out. You want to draw them back, broadening across the upper back, and then cross right elbow on top of left. Finding eagle arms, bring the backs of the hands to touch. And then draw the shoulder blades toward each other in the back. Maybe you can lift the elbows up a little bit. One more inhale and then exhale, release. Let them float up. Do a forward fold in between. Dive forward. Soften the knees, roll up to stand. Let the shoulders roll up to the ears, draw them back, and then bring the arms out in front of you. Draw the arms into the shoulder sockets, and then we cross left elbow on top of right. We bend the elbows, bringing the backs of the hands to touch. Draw the belly in if you feel an arch form in your back, and just gently, little micro adjustments. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. The shoulder blades toward each other in the back, and shoulder blades moving toward the low back. One more breath in. And then exhale, let your eagle fly overhead. And exhale, diving forward. And let's hold Uttanasana now for 5 breaths. So hands can be on a block. Check in with your feet if they started doing any turning out or turning in. You want about a fist distance in between your feet. So the idea in our forward fold is to not bend our knees. So if you're bending the knees, come up a little higher. Use 1 or 2 blocks. Or you can hold opposite elbows to let gravity help you in this pose. But we want the hamstrings to be stretched. When we have tight hamstrings, it leads to tight hips. It might lead to some knee pain. So we want to breathe into the back of the legs right now. Opening up the hamstrings. And then everybody lift up halfway. So if you need a block to do it, or bring fingertips to your knees. And then I want you to gently bend your right knee. And if you're not feeling a deep stretch in your left side, then fold forward a little bit more. But by bending that only the right knee, you should feel a deeper stretch in the left side. And inhale, straightening that right knee, soften the left knee. Opposite leg. Just notice if one leg is feeling tighter than the other. No judgment, just noticing. Noticing, helping you to know where you are on the mat today. And then straighten that leg, soften the knees and roll up to stand. And just opening up the shoulders, roll them out. few times one direction and reverse. All right, everybody feel warmed up? Yeah, good, good. Bring your blocks middle height to the sides of your mat. And then come to stand at the top of your mat. Inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, hinge forward. Bring your hands to the mat, bend your knees, and step your feet back as far as you can, finding plank pose. And then lift your hips to find downward facing dog. Inhale, rock forward to plank. And exhale into downward dog. Inhale one more time, rock forward to plank. And exhale, hips lift you into downward dog, staying in downward dog here. So it's okay to bend your knees a little bit here in downward dog if the hamstrings are feeling extra tight. The heels do not have to reach the mat. Finding that upside down V shape. If there's a lot of weight in your wrists, placing your hands on blocks might help with that. One more full breath in and out, and then lift your right leg up a little bit. Draw the right knee into your chest and step it forward so it lands just behind your hands. Drop your left knee down. Bring your blocks underneath your shoulders, coming up to what we call Anjaneyasana. So the right foot, right knee, and right ankle are in a line. Find some equilibrium here for a moment. So your hands can stay on the blocks for balance, or to add to this, we might float our arms up by the ears. Let's make cactus arms. Bend the elbows to 90 degrees. Draw your elbows back outside of your peripheral vision, helping to open across here, the chest and heart space. And then inhale, lift the arms. And exhale, cactus. Inhale the arms up by the ears, and then exhale, cactus arms. Inhale and exhale, cactus arms, and then bring them down to the blocks. Bring them forward to frame your right foot and place your hands on the blocks, and then tuck your left toes under. Lift the left knee off the mat. Finding a twist here, keep your left hand on this block. Inhale the right arm up. So 3 more breaths. So I want you to really focus on the left leg for a moment, finding full extension in that leg, really strengthen it. Find that bending of the right knee, maybe deepen that bend just a little bit. And then notice if the weight is heavy in that left hand, try and reach up through the right arm as if you can lift off of that left hand. And last breath, feel it in the right side of your chest. And then exhale, lowering the hand, coming to plank. And then drop your knees down. Separate your knees as wide as your mat and bring your toes to touch. Bring your seat to your heels. And then blocks come in a little bit and slide them forward so that your hands and wrists are resting on the block. So it could be middle height, or you could lower down to the lowest height of the block. Coming into this child's pose with the arms on the blocks, helping to open up in the upper back and the upper shoulders. Or if you prefer to just let the arms drop to the floor, that's fine too. stay on your yoga mat. If we allow ourselves to be open, accepting to exactly how our practice is at that moment, we never need to feel as though we're losing out. If some of our asana poses are a little out of reach at the moment, it is never the postures we are able to do that define our practice, but the amount of awareness we bring to them. One more full breath in and out, and then inhale, lifting yourself up to tabletop, moving the blocks to the side, or you can practice downward dog with your hands on the blocks if you want. Tuck your toes under, lift up to plank. You might need to find your distance here by shimmering or sliding your feet back a little bit, and then let your hips guide you into downward dog. Lifting the left leg up now, lift it just a little bit so you can draw that left knee into your chest, stepping it forward just behind your hands, dropping the right knee down, bringing the blocks under your shoulders. So starting here in Anjaneyasana on this side. So looking to stack our shoulders over our hips. Use the blocks as long as you need to find balance. As we float our arms up, we want to draw the belly in a little bit. So some engagement in the low belly, in the middle abdomen. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cactus arms. One more time. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, cactus arms. And let's just hold here for a breath, drawing the elbows back a little bit, opening across the chest, opening through the sternum, and then hands down to the blocks. Bring the blocks forward, middle height. Framing that left foot and then tuck the right toes under to lift that right knee up. So we're in this low lunge. Keep the right hand on the block as we inhale the left arm up. Finding our twist here. And if you need the block under the right hand at the highest, that's fine. And just finding a straight line up with that left arm. Really push through the right heel. Beautiful, everyone. One more full breath in. And then exhale that left hand down to the block and push off your right knee, your right foot. Bring it forward to meet the left. And inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale into forward fold, lifting with a flat back now. So float up halfway, bring the arms out to the sides. Breathe into the belly and continue to lift all the way up to stand. Inhaling the arms overhead, drawing the hands down to your heart center. And Tadasana. Take a full breath here, reset breath. Moving into Sun Salutation A. Inhale, the arms overhead, and exhale, diving forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, bend your knees, and for my friends who want to use the block under the hands for a little extra support, place them on the lowest. Everyone step back to plank. And then we're going to lower the knees. Pitch your body forward a little bit so shoulders come past wrists. Bend at the elbows and lower the whole upper body at once. And then finding cobra, you have to move the blocks to the side if you're using them.
Separate your legs a comfortable distance so it feels good for the low back. Hug elbows into the side body, soften. Inhale, lift, peel the upper body off the mat. And then exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes under. Push yourself up to tabletop. And then round the spine like you're in cat pose. And then straighten the legs. Finding downward dog, you can move the blocks under your hands right now. Bringing the blocks under the hands creates a little bit more space for you to feel fully extended in the arms. Nice, nice. Really finding that opening across the upper body, the upper back. Feel as though you're hiding your armpits from your neighbor, especially if you don't want your neighbor to see your armpits. But that motion of hiding your armpits from your neighbor finds an external rotation and creates a little bit more space in the shoulders. Lift your gaze to look between your hands and walk a footprint at a time to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift up halfway, and exhale, fold. Coming to stand, yogi's choice. Either bend your knees and roll up to stand or lift with a flat back. Your choice. And then hands to heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, sweeping the arms overhead, and exhale, lowering down. Inhale, lift up halfway, and then exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, step in both feet back to plank, and then lift the hips for downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg, lift it up, this time a little bit higher, but to where your hips are level. So not lifting it up too high, but find that place where your hips are level. Draw the right knee into your chest. Step it toward the backs of your hands. We're going to lift to high lunge now. So bring your blocks, frame your right foot, bring them to the highest. So that helps you lift halfway. Notice the extension in the left leg. Keep that extension come up to your fingertips. Maybe you're ready for hands to hips. Maybe you're ready to lift all the way up. If not, stay with hands on the blocks. If you're lifting and balancing, bring your hands to your sacrum so your elbows are drawing toward each other in the back, helping to open the chest. Beautiful choices, everyone. Honoring the body. Inhale the arms up by the ears if you're finding this balance. Full breath in and then exhale, hands down to the blocks and then push off that back foot. Step that left foot in about 1.5 feet. Have the toes slightly turning to say between 10 and 11 o'clock. Both legs are straight. This is pyramid pose. So we can stay halfway, just like this. Notice how my back is flat, lengthening from the tailbone out through the crown of the head. With that length, then I'm going to start to fold forward, drawing my chest toward that right knee. Everybody's going to be at a different place, so honor where you are. So stay halfway to be able to keep the legs fully extended. Again, that fold is optional. If you are feeling a deep stretch with a halfway lift, stay there. One more breath in. and out, and then bend the knees, soften the knees, and step that left foot forward. Inhale, float up to stand. Exhale, hands to heart center, and we find Tadasana for a reset breath. Take a full breath in. And out. Inhale, circling the arms overhead, and exhale, diving forward, bending the knees, planting the hands, stepping back to plank pose. Then let the hips guide you into downward facing dog. Full breath in and out. Lifting the left leg now, so a little bit higher than before, but leveling the hips. So to help you, turn the toes to the mat. Push through that left heel. And we're going to draw that left knee into the chest. Step it down right behind your hands. Bring your blocks to frame that left foot at the highest. So finding balance here in your high lunge. Left knee bending toward a 90-degree angle. Right leg fully extended. Maybe we start coming up to fingertips. Maybe press into that left foot to let the upper body come to stand. Yep. Start with hands on your sacrum to lengthen through the low back. Elbows drawing toward each other. And then maybe the arms float up. High lunge. Full breath in, really strengthening that right leg, really straighten it. Try and straighten that right leg as best you can. And then we're gonna let the hands come down to the blocks, straighten that left leg, and then step that right foot in about 1.5 feet. Toes turning to in between 1 and 2 o'clock. Both legs straight. Find a half lift. Feel that lengthening from tailbone out through the crown of the head. Staying here, feeling the stretch in this hamstring, or maybe taking it a little deeper and hinging forward, bringing the heart space toward that left knee. Beautiful. Feeling equal weight distribution in the feet. Let go of any tension in the neck. One more breath in and out. Little bend in the left knee to bring that right foot forward. Inhale, fingertips to knees. Find a half lift. Take the arms out to the sides. Then lift the upper body. Inhale the arms overhead. Hands coming to heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, dive forward into forward fold. Bend your knees, plant your hands, and step both feet back to plank. And then pitch your body forward. So rock onto your toes. Notice your shoulders coming past your wrists. Drop your knees to the mat. Rotate your elbow creases to the front of the room. Bend your elbows, hug them in, lower the upper body to the mat. Take the arms alongside and turn your left cheek to the mat. And pause there. So just let your body be soft. Bring your arms alongside, like fully alongside your body. Palms face up. So don't have your elbows bent. And you can move the blocks to the side. So we're just lying on our bellies, arms alongside, and the left cheek to the mat, and then turn your right cheek to the mat. So setting up for a back bend here, it's called Shalabhasana. So I want everybody to bring your forehead, so your gaze is looking at the mat. You're not really resting your forehead on the mat, it's just a couple inches off of it. Start with your legs together. Notice the sensations in your low back. And then start to separate your legs to that point that feels comfortable for your low back. It's going to be thinner for some. It's going to be wider for others. And then I want you to start to lift your legs off the mat. Keep the belly pressing into the mat. Keep your hips pressing into the mat. Just lift your legs. Now lift your arms. Let your chest come off the mat. Gaze looking at the mat. Launch your back. And exhale, lower down. And now make a pillow with your hands underneath your forehead. And just rest there for a couple of breaths. And then we're going to bring our arms out in front of us. Still on our bellies. Let the forehead drop to the mat. Inhale, start lifting the legs off the mat. See if you can lift the thighs just a little bit more off the mat. And then start to lift your arms up. Turn the palms toward each other. Gaze is still looking down. See if you can lift one more rib cage off. Beautiful. And release down. Make that pillow for your forehead again. And then we'll do one more Shalabhasana, locust pose. So have the arms this time, swing them alongside your body again. Either keeping them there or maybe interlacing the fingers, extending the knuckles toward the back of the room. Start lifting your legs on an inhale. Then peeling the chest off the mat. Maybe the arms lift up off your back. One more full breath in. And exhale, lower down, turn the left cheek to the mat. 3 breaths there on your left cheek. And then, so totally relaxed, surrender into this. And then turn the opposite cheek. And you can release the hands, let the arms be soft alongside your body. One more breath in and out. And then we're going to flip onto our backs. And you don't have, you could just roll right over. Your head could be facing the mirror. Easy as you can to just roll onto your back. And then bring your block next to you. So bring the feet to the mat. Knees facing the ceiling. And then press into your feet and slide the block under your sacrum at the lowest height. So that bony part of your low back, you want to be fully supported by the block. And then bring the knees to 90 degrees. Your toes facing the ceiling, feet are flexed. Let the arms move away from your body a little bit. Either palms facing down or up. And then straighten the legs. Coming into this variation of legs up, or it's also considered supported shoulder stand. So for practicing an inversion here for about a minute. So one last full breath, really feeling the weight, surrendering into the support of that block. On your exhale, rebend your knees, let your feet drop to the mat. Press into your feet and lift up so you can remove the block out from under you. And then just lower the back down. Coming into our revolved abdomen twist with a little adjustment. So follow my cues, if you will. So just reach your arms towards your heels. See if you could graze your heels with your longest finger. And if your fingers aren't reaching, walk your feet toward your sits bones a little bit closer. And then bring the arms out to the sides. Press into your feet and lift your hips up just an inch. And then shift your hips only. Keep your feet right where they are. Just shift your hips to the right. Drop your low back down to the mat. And now hug your knees into your chest. They should be on a little bit of a slant. And then let them roll down to the left, to the floor. Let them drop down. Try and make a 90-degree angle with your knees. If your low back is feeling pretty tight, you can slide a block in between your thighs for a little extra support. Lift your chin towards your chest. With that adjustment, you should be able to see your right hip in line with your nose. And then let your arms float out to the sides, extending straight out from the shoulders, and flip the palms to turn up. 5 breaths here in this twist. With each inhale and exhale, silently saying the words, I am enough, to yourself. Softening the face. Softening the eye sockets. Softening the jaw. I am enough. Last full breath in and out on this side. Just sigh out the exhale. Let the toxins go that you've just wrung out. Next, inhale, feel it gather in your belly to lift the knees to center. Drop the feet back down to the mat and adjust your spine back to neutral. Straighten it out. Same adjustment on the other side, pressing into the feet. Lift the hips an inch. Shift them to the left a couple of inches, and then drop the low back down to the mat. Draw the knees into your chest as you rock them down to the right side. Finding that 90-degree angle again with the knees. Using a block in between the thighs for a little help with the low back. And taking the arms out to the sides, palms face up to help the shoulders externally rotate and draw toward the earth. 5 breaths here. So that first breath in a twist sometimes doesn't feel too full. So with each round that follows, maybe trace the breath. Trace the inhale. Trace the exhale. Swami Shivananda said, desire and want is what causes us to go out of our way to obtain something. Often the things we buy and don't need could be appreciated by someone else. But by needlessly taking them for ourselves, we rob others of the chance to have what they do need. When we begin to let go of what we don't need, we make space for the universe to provide us with what we do need, be it a physical possession, an experience, or simply a sense of well-being. Twists are a wonderful way to let go of what we no longer need, to wring out toxins that store up in our intestine. One more full breath in and out, and then use that breath, feel it gather in the belly to lift the knees to center, dropping the feet to the mat, straightening out the spine. Hug the knees into your chest, rock a little bit from side to side. And then find neutral and separate your knees out wide. So your knees are coming out as wide as your armpits. And then turn your feet up to the sky, flexing the feet. Wrap your fingers around the outside of your shin. So your thumb is over your shin and your fingers are wrapping around your calf. Bring the elbows to the inside of the knees, helping to just open the hips a little wider. Maybe draw down the knees toward the earth and feel your whole back flatten against the mat, just widening and expanding. Maybe rock a little bit from side to side if that feels good, or if stillness feels good, stay there. In Sanskrit, this is called Ananda Balasana, happy baby. Ananda means blissful in Sanskrit. If you're rocking from side to side, come to stillness and then draw the soles of the feet together, elbows coming to the inside of your knees to help press your knees out. So this Supta Baddha Konasana pose, butterfly pose. Again, feeling the whole back flatten against the mat. Soften the shoulders. the legs up to the sky, straightening the legs for our Paschimottanasana pose on our backs. And then to the count of 5, we're going to lower the legs. Try and keep them straight. Lower the legs to the mat. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold for 1. And let them go. Finding corpse pose, Shavasana. So separate the legs a little bit. Take the arms out a comfortable distance away from the body. Take a full deep breath in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. Taking a body scan to bring yourself into this final rest pose. Shavasana is designed to accept the effects of your asana practice. To feel the residue, if you will, of moving your body into different poses. To find stillness so that you're able to let go, surrender. If the low back is uncomfortable in any way, sometimes bringing a block under each knee helps. Or you can bring the feet to the mat, bending the knees a comfortable distance away from your sits bones. Practicing knowing that we have enough and we are enough is the key to wanting and desiring less. To then create a feeling of a lot more whole and happy within ourselves. Whenever any feelings of lack arise, practice using the mantra, I am enough. Experiencing life as it is. Softening with each breath.
slowly begin to deepen your breath as we invite small movements and wiggling the fingers and toes, circling the wrists and ankles. Maybe inhale the arms overhead, taking a long stretch. And then hugging the knees into the chest, rolling onto your right side. Extend that right arm underneath your head. Create a little pillow for the head. Take a couple of deeper breaths here, allowing the energy to flow down from the heart into the body. Slowly making your way up to a seat. Keeping the eyes soft or closed as you find a comfortable seat, crossing the legs, bringing your hands to your heart center and a soft bow of the head toward your heart. Take a moment to thank yourself and thank anyone else in your life who made it possible for you to be here today. Samasta Sukino Bhavantu, may all beings everywhere be happy and free. May the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. Finishing with the sound of Om, take a full inhale. Wishing you all a beautiful day. Namaste. Thank you. Deb, Olivia, thanks.
Thank you.
And
Great.
Tomorrow, intermediate yoga. It's a new class for those who have just come back. 10 o'clock for an hour on Tuesdays. And then yoga and meditation Wednesdays at 1:30. So I'm here 3 days a week now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Next week for Thanksgiving, I will only be here on Monday. So Tuesday and Wednesdays class is canceled. Yeah, I know there's a lot of cancellations next week for classes, so just take a look online at the schedule they post. I know, I can't believe Thanksgiving's really next week. Woo. Spread the thoughts of Stan, go for your deposit. Right? Especially this time of the year, you know, to be able to make a donation to okay, so you're on Hill Dose Winter, huh? I know. No, we had it too on November 1st. It'll make coming back that much sweeter. I remember. Go crazy. I know it's an extra practice. Oh, I know. Yep. I remember that. Yep. I was one of them. Well, save